It was a dark and stormy night, the wind howling and the rain pounding against the windows. I was sitting in my dimly lit living room, trying to gather my thoughts and calm my nerves. I had just finished telling a group of friends about a recent ghostly encounter I had experienced, and the fear was palpable in the room. The storm outside intensified, lightning flashing and thunder rumbling, as if it was trying to warn us of the terror that was to come. My friends were trying to calm me down, but the fear was too much. I had to escape, and I knew exactly where I would find solace. I grabbed my flashlight and headed down to the basement. The musty smell of old books and damp concrete was a welcome change from the fear that was threatening to consume me. I walked down the aisle between the shelves, tracing my finger along the spine of the old volumes until I found what I was looking for. It was an old, leather-bound book that was rumored to contain the secrets of the dead. The title was written in a strange language, and I couldn't make out what it meant. But I was determined to find out what lay within its pages. I opened the book, and the first page was filled with a strange symbol. It was unlike anything I had ever seen before, and I felt a chill run down my spine as I gazed upon it. I turned the page, and the words began to form in my mind, as if they were being whispered directly into my ear. Beware, for what lies ahead is not for the faint of heart. The secrets contained within this book have the power to drive you to the brink of insanity. Those who seek to unlock its secrets must be prepared to face their deepest fears and embrace the darkness within. I couldn't resist. I had to know what the book held, so I continued reading. The words were cryptic, and the stories were beyond frightening. I was so engrossed in the book that I didn't even notice the storm had stopped and the basement had grown deathly silent. Suddenly, I heard a soft shuffling sound behind me. I turned to see a figure emerging from the shadows. Its face was twisted and demonic, its eyes glowing with a malevolent light. I tried to scream, but no sound escaped my lips. The figure stepped closer, and I could see the details of its face. Its skin was gray and wrinkled. Its eyes were deep pools of blackness, and its mouth was filled with razor-sharp teeth. I stumbled backwards, trying to get away, but the figure was upon me before I could escape. Its hands reached for me, and I felt a cold grip wrap around my neck. I was lifted into the air, and I could feel my life slipping away. Just as I was about to lose consciousness, I heard a voice whisper in my ear. "You were foolish to seek the secrets of the dead. Your soul belongs to me now." And with that, I was gone, lost in the void of eternal darkness. The next thing I knew, I was in a dark and dreary place, a world unlike anything I had ever seen before. The sky was a deep red, and the ground was covered in a thick, inky mist. I could feel the weight of the darkness pressing down on me, and I knew that I was not alone. As I stumbled through the mist, I saw the figure from before, its eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. I tried to run, but it was no use. The figure was always one step ahead of me, its laughter echoing through the darkness. I soon found myself standing in front of a massive gate, guarded by two demons with razor-sharp teeth and glowing eyes. They stood between me and the only way out of this world, and I knew that I would have to face them if I was going to make it back to the living. I tried to fight, but the demons were too strong. I was thrown to the ground, and just as I thought all was lost, a strange feeling came over me. The darkness was lifting, and I could feel a strange power coursing through my veins. I rose to my feet, and the demons backed away, their eyes filled with fear. I looked down at my hands and saw that they were glowing with a bright light. I knew what I had to do, With a roar, I lunged at the demons, my hands outstretched. The light from my hands grew brighter and brighter until it consumed the demons, reducing them to nothing but ash. The gate opened and I stepped through, back into the world of the living. But the fear was far from over. I could still feel the presence of the figure from before, lurking in the shadows. I knew that I had to be careful, for it was always watching, waiting for its chance to reclaim my soul. The fear stayed with me, following me everywhere I went. But I refused to let it control me. I would face my fears and fight against the darkness, for I was the only one who could keep the horrors of the afterlife at bay. The fear that had been following me since my encounter with the demonic figure and my journey to the afterlife began to manifest in strange and mysterious ways. People in my town started to die, one by one, each death more gruesome and horrifying than the last. The police were stumped and the town was in a state of panic. No one knew who or what was behind the killings, but rumors of a madman on the loose began to spread. I tried to ignore the fear that was threatening to consume me, but I couldn't shake the feeling that the deaths were somehow connected to my experience in the afterlife. I started to investigate on my own, hoping to find some clue that would lead me to the killer. It was then that I discovered a strange symbol that was etched at the scene of each of the murders. It was the same symbol that I had seen in the book I found in my basement, the one that had led me to the afterlife. I knew that I had to find out more about the symbol and what it meant. I delved deeper into my research and soon discovered that it was linked to an ancient cult that worshipped death and the afterlife. I also learned that the cult was led by a psycho who was using the killings to try and bring about the end of the world. The psycho believed that by sacrificing enough souls, he could open the gates of the afterlife and release the demons that were contained within. I had to stop him. I couldn't let the horrors of the afterlife be unleashed upon the world. I raced to the cult's headquarters, determined to stop the psycho and put an end to the killings. As I approached the headquarters, I could feel the fear building within me. I knew that I was facing a battle unlike any other and that I might not make it out alive. But I refused to let that stop me. I burst into the headquarters and was immediately confronted by the psycho. He was a twisted, maniacal figure, his eyes blazing with an insane light. He laughed as he faced me, knowing that I was no match for him. But I was determined. I fought with all my might, using the strange power that had been given to me during my journey to the afterlife. The psycho fought back with equal ferocity, but I was relentless. In the end, it was I who emerged victorious. I destroyed the psycho and his cult, stopping the killings and saving the world from the horrors of the afterlife. But the fear stayed with me, a constant reminder of what I had faced and what I had overcome. I would never forget the horrors that I had faced and the bravery that I had shown. And I would always be vigilant, always ready to face the darkness if it should come calling again. The world was never the same after the cult and the psycho were defeated. People were more aware of the darkness that lurked in the shadows, but life went on as usual. That was until the horrors began anew. A new killer was on the loose, one who was even more twisted and terrifying than the psycho I had faced before. The killings were more gruesome and the fear was palpable. People were afraid to leave their homes and the streets were empty after dark. I knew that I had to do something, but I was scared. The fear was like a weight on my chest, making it hard for me to breathe. But I couldn't let that stop me. I had to be brave, just like I was when I faced the psycho and the cult. I started to investigate the killings, determined to find out who was behind them. It wasn't long before I discovered a pattern. The killer was targeting people who had faced the horrors of the afterlife, people like me. I was scared, but I was also determined. I knew that I had to stop the killer before they could claim another victim. I armed myself with the strange power that I had been given during my journey to the afterlife and set out to face the killer. I followed the clues, each one leading me closer and closer to the killer. And then, I finally found them. It was a person I never would have suspected, someone who had been hiding in plain sight all along. The killer was a monster, their eyes filled with madness and their hands stained with the blood of their victims. They laughed as they faced me, knowing that I was no match for them. But I was ready. I fought with all my might, using the power that had been given to me. The killer fought back with equal ferocity, but I was relentless. In the end, it was I who emerged victorious. I defeated the killer and saved the world from the horrors that they had planned to unleash. But the fear stayed with me. I was haunted by the horrors that I had faced and the bravery that I had shown. And I knew that there would always be more darkness waiting for me, more horrors that I would have to face. But I was ready. I was a warrior of the afterlife, a defender of the living, and I would never give up the fight. No matter what horrors may come, I would always be ready to face them and emerge victorious. The world was at peace after the last killer was defeated, but the fear still lingered. People were more cautious, more aware of the darkness that surrounded them. But amidst all the fear and uncertainty, a love story began to unfold. It was a strange and unusual love story, one that was born in the aftermath of the horrors I had faced. I had met someone who was like me, someone who had faced the horrors of the afterlife and emerged victorious. We fell in love quickly, drawn to each other by a bond that was stronger than anything either of us had ever known. We were each other's rock, each other's solace, and we were determined to make our love work, no matter what the world had in store for us. But love is a strange and unpredictable thing, and as our love grew, so did the fear that surrounded us. The fear that had been lingering since the cult and the psycho, the fear that had followed us since our journey to the afterlife, began to take on a new form. It started with small things, whispers in the dark, strange symbols etched into walls. And then, one day, the fear came for us. It came in the form of a figure that was all too familiar. It was the demon that I had faced in the afterlife, the one that had tried to claim my soul. And it was back, stronger and more determined than ever. The demon was determined to destroy our love, to tear us apart and claim our souls. It was a battle like no other, a battle for our love and our lives. We fought with everything we had, using the strange power that had been given to us during our journey to the afterlife. The demon fought back with equal ferocity, but we were relentless. In the end, it was our love that saved us. Our love was stronger than the fear, stronger than the demon, and we emerged victorious. But the fear stayed with us. It was a constant reminder of what we had faced and what we had overcome. And we knew that there would always be more darkness waiting for us, more horrors that we would have to face. But we were ready. We were a team, a force of love and bravery, and we would never give up the fight. No matter what horrors may come, we would always be ready to face them together, as long as our love remained strong. Our love had survived the horrors of the afterlife and the demons that had tried to destroy it. But the fear was never far away, always lurking in the shadows. and it wasn't long before we were faced with another horror. This time, the horror came in the form of rats. They were everywhere, swarming the streets and the buildings, spreading disease and terror wherever they went. And they were getting bolder, attacking people in broad daylight, their numbers growing with each passing day. People were afraid to leave their homes, and the city was on the brink of chaos. We knew that we had to do something, but we didn't know where to start. And then, the lovebirds started to disappear. At first, it was just a few here and there. But then, entire flocks were gone, leaving behind only empty nests and a sense of dread. We knew that the rats and the disappearing lovebirds were connected, but we didn't know how. And so, we set out to investigate, determined to find out what was behind the horrors that were taking over the city. As we delved deeper into the mystery, the dangers grew. The rats were getting bolder and more aggressive, their numbers growing with each passing day. And we soon realized that they were controlled by something evil and twisted. We were in over our heads, but we refused to give up. Our love was too strong, our bond too unbreakable, for us to let the fear win. And so, we continued our investigation, determined to find out what was behind the horrors that were taking over the city. And then, we finally discovered the truth. The rats were being controlled by a powerful witch, one who was seeking revenge for an ancient wrong. And the lovebirds were her sacrifices, the offering she needed to complete her spell. We were up against a powerful foe, but we were determined to stop her. We fought with everything we had, using the power that had been given to us during our journey to the afterlife. And in the end, it was our love that saved us. Our love was stronger than the fear, stronger than the witch, and we emerged victorious. But the fear stayed with us. It was a constant reminder of what we had faced and what we had overcome. And we knew that there would always be more darkness waiting for us, more horrors that we would have to face. But we were ready. We were a team, a force of love and bravery, and we would never give up the fight. No matter what horrors may come, we would always be ready to face them together, as long as our love remained strong.